exciting the day I came. I mean, I wasn't even thinking about being interviewed. I was just thinking, wow, I have to go meet my colleagues. I'm going to work there. And my husband said, what do you mean your colleagues? You don't have the job yet. I said, I know, but this is where I'm going to work. Well, when Tom and I came, the curriculum was primarily on paper with some brief descriptions as best people could define the classes, and the only class that was being taught at the time was the foundations class. And we revised that, especially Tom revised it a lot because he taught it a lot in the early days and came up with his book. But each of us actually had certain classes to develop from the ground up. And because of my background in organizations, the dean gave me leadership in organizations and leading change. And so those were the two classes that I started off with and developed from the ground up. So we worked all the time. We were here every day of the week. It was a very tiring time, but it was a very exciting time. I mean, we were sharing whatever we developed in our classes. We were talking about teaching techniques. We were sharing teaching materials and we were developing our own classes, but we were developing like the foundations class together and just getting help from each other, doing what you would think any faculty would do, except that we knew we were in the trenches together. Nobody else in the university knew about this field, and so we were in it together. We had to stick together and help each other, and we did. Well, I think Jepson settled into being its own school with its own identity, and I think we stopped thinking about what other people were thinking of us and settled into who we wanted to be. We had very high hopes for the curriculum and for our students, but we had no evidence, we had no data. We just had the belief that we were going to build something wonderful, but we couldn't say, oh yes, we have so many and so many students out there who are this and who are that. And so then over time we started to have students to graduate and to go on to get really wonderful jobs and positions. I think the first 2 years of graduating classes, I know the first year one of our students won the MACE award, and I believe the second year as well. So our students were already doing well in the university. They were holding a lot of positions. They were doing well in the classes. We were getting more settled. The curriculum was getting more settled. So, from those early days where you're just creating something from the ground up to about 5 and then 10 years into the program where we're settled, we're pretty happy with the curriculum, even though we tinker with it all the time, but the core really has stayed fairly stable. We've changed a few courses out of it. We've divided a few courses into 2 courses, but we became very stable and comfortable with what we were developing. We started to produce a lot of scholarship in the field and started to kind of take on the lead role in helping to develop a field and the textbooks in the field. So we changed from being an infant in the whole field of leadership studies and in developing a curriculum to something that has been really solid and proven, and we've gone on to learn a lot and contribute a lot, and our students have gone on to do just what we thought they would do. They would be in every field that you could think of. They would excel in that field, and they would bring something unique to their fields. Barely get a word in edgewise. I would say, well, I think, and they would say, no, we want to do this and we want to do that. And so that approach really worked, and it made the theories come alive for them. And they came up with some pretty inventive organizations, some that I have seen actually develop in the real world. And I would tell them, you guys should go out and do this. And then later on, I would see these organizations actually come to pass out there in the real world. I just see nothing but excitement for our future. I will kind of miss not being here to see that, but I think living right down the road, I'm going to come over often to the forums and other things to see how things are going. But it looks really exciting to me.